welcome back and welcome for a brand new Pokemon Go Third Shield PvP podcast. Guys, in this episode, I have an amazing guest for you. It's Battlebill himself joining us on the podcast, and I wanted to have him on the podcast forever, and now he's finally here for Season 6 of the Go Battle League. So, Battlebill, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Been wanting to be on for a while.
Of course. I'm very excited because I've been watching you on Twitch. I've been watching your videos, and I've been enjoying learning on your perspective because you comment on the battles and in a good way that not many players doing. So it was just interested me a lot. And then after that, I was like, all right, we're going to have you on the podcast. So thank you for joining again. And right away, I just wanted to ask you that Season 6 has launched actually right now. So what do you think about it? Even though we don't know, as of recording on this podcast, we don't really know the details of it. Mm-hmm. But I just want to know what you're looking forward to it. And do you have any plan whatsoever for Season 6 just yet?
So I'm definitely super excited for Season 6. I can't wait to put in a bunch of effort and start that grind to rank 24 because that was my big issue with Season 5. Season 5, I just felt like there was enough motivation to want to keep going. Whereas with Season 6, I'm just excited for that competition to come back. I'm hoping soon. I know you said this will be coming out when Season 6 drops. Hopefully we'll get an announcement on potential changes and updates and effects on the meta. That's what I'm also excited for with Season 6, just to play around with new Great League mons and new moves and things along those lines. And I'm definitely excited for the new Generation 6 Pokemon that are going to come in and have an effect on the specific metas.
So right away, since you mentioned it, do you have any of those Pokemons in mind yet that you're going to go out for to able to get it and right away use it? One of the first people using it in Go Battle League?
So Aegislash is a big one. That's definitely like the hot topic that everybody's been talking about. It unfortunately got nerfed and lost Night Slash, but I think it'll still be pretty beastly because it's such a tank and has such an awesome stat product. I'm actually excited for the Grass Starter's final evolution. I forget what the name of it is, but it gets access to like superpower. It's going to have like Energy Ball. Sooner or later, it'll get a Community Day move of a Frenzy Plant. And it has like a pretty unique moveset for like a Grass type Pokemon. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, I'm going to have to look it up because now I don't know which one you're talking about either, but that sounds legit.
Yeah, I'll look it up while we continue talking.
Okay. And then also, I think there was one more, I forgot how to say it, but the one with the big ears, Bunnery or something Bunny.
Oh, is that, I think that's Generation, no, I know what you're talking about, the chunky one, the one that diggers.
The ground type, right?
Yes, the ground normal type, I think.
Yeah, that's it. I'm excited for that one too, because that should have lots of good moves.
I heard that's going to be like the Great League version of like Groudon. It has like Mud Shot, Fire Punch, and Earthquake. So yeah.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. I'm very excited. So
I just looked it up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What was it?
The grass Pokemon was called Chestnut.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I have that on my list already. So I built a list, and as soon as I can get them, I'm gonna try to get on it right away because I don't know about you, but I love that element of surprise. When people don't know how to play against the Pokemon just yet when it came out, that's what I'm always going for.
Yes, that's the best part of making the Spice videos that you and I make, is that you catch people off guard the first couple sets using it, and then you have the success just from that.
Exactly. Speaking of that, so first of all, how did you get into Pokemon Go? And then also, how did you actually got into PvP itself?
Oh, great question. So when the game dropped in 2016, I was just like on it at the beginning because I've always been a fan of like Pokemon growing up. So I was playing the first few months with like the hype and everybody else was playing. And then it started to die down towards 2017. So I actually took a break. I stopped playing for some months. And then I think I slowly got back into it towards the end of 2017 where like raids were coming in. And then I was just like slowly picking up my grind here and there. And I was like, always in the back of my mind, I was like, I enjoy the game, but there needs to be a PvP feature. So like the only reason why I was grinding was before even PvP existed because I wanted something that was competitive. So I was casually playing and like increasing my play as time went on. And then once PvP dropped, I'm like, oh, this is the main reason why I want to play. So now I'm going to go grind, put in all this effort towards resources and stuff like that, focus specifically so that I can have success in PvP. And I was thankful that Silph existed in the beginning because that gave me like a real reason to enjoy the competition and want to participate in PvP.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm happy to hear that because those are the best stories too. I have met so many people who started back in the day and then left, and then PvP changed everything for many people. I'm happy you're back, and I'm happy you're creating the content for it as well.
Thank you.
And as far as for the past seasons, which one was so far your favorite season? Not necessarily because you did so well in it, but maybe because you enjoyed it the most. And then which one was your most successful season, in your opinion?
That's a great question. I want to say season 2 was my favorite season, and that's just because I had so much success with my double Mud Boy strat, where I was running Skarmory and Whiscash and Swampert. So that was definitely my favorite one because it took me all the way to like rank 9 that season, and it was like early on. So that was definitely my favorite season. What was the other question?
Which one was the most successful, the one that you think you did the best out of?
Oh, okay. I think it was season 3. It was one of those two seasons. I might be mixing them back and forth, but I think it was season 2 was my favorite for Double Mud Boys. Season 3 was my most successful one because I came up with this Azumarill, Ferrothorn, Vigoroth team that kept me on like first page of leaderboards towards the end of the season when like all 3 leagues were back. And then it was unfortunate because I think in season 4 is when Flash Cannon got nerfed. So yeah, so then Ferrothorn had like less play, and it like affected my entire team layout, and I couldn't use it again after that.
And what do you think? It could be this season, last season, or any season whatsoever. But what do you think? What was the Pokemon that you used? Maybe your secret weapon in a way that people didn't really know how to play against it, or it was just new, or it was just your special.
Ooh. I think Obstagoon, when it first dropped, I really hopped on top of that one. That was one I really enjoyed using, and that was like a new one right away. And then, also this past season, Rapidash. Like this past season, season 5, as much as like it wasn't the most competitive, what kept me excited about Kanto Cup was messing around with Rapidash with Incinerate and Flame Charge, and just people were really struggling on how to like play it out. It's a very glassy Pokemon, but I had a ton of success with it.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. And then, of course, season 5, everybody has its opinion on it. So I just want to ask you real quick that season 5 was really what it was. It's just everybody who didn't play or just joining in it was like a filler for Niantic to be able to make adjustments to the season and also to give a chance to everybody get, I guess, Pikachu Libre. But and we don't know what we're gonna get in season 6, so hopefully they change that. But anyway, so my question is, did you participate in season 5? Did you enjoy it, or what parts did you use, or what was going on?
So I was excited for the season 5 metas. I wasn't the biggest fan of the easy rank up to rank 10. I understand people want their Pikachu Libres and are happy with it. So power to them for getting that. And I'm hoping that in season 6 there will be newer things that will become exclusive for people to get to like that rank 24. But I was excited for the metas, which is why I participated in the Little Cup in the first week. And then that one kind of grew stale because of Bronzor. So I tried to make a team without spending too much dust on it, without Bronzor. So I did that towards the end. And then Kanto Cup, I think I just really enjoyed, and I hope it's something they bring back for a very competitive season, just because of the fact that the only reason why I felt competition was because I was climbing leaderboards at that point, and I just enjoyed the team I was using. Catch Cup, I didn't participate in at all because it came at a time where they also made the announcement for season 6 and level 50. And that was just like, okay, I'm going to need a lot of Stardust and whatnot for that. So even though you could find cheap options for Catch Cup, I didn't feel like I wanted to invest anything at all just because I was too excited for season 6. Like, why invest in something for a week, even if I'm spending 50,000 dust to make the entire team? Like, that's 50,000 dust I could have used elsewhere. Because also at the same time, I always play to win, even if it's not competition based. Like, I'm not going to go in there with like 1,300 CP Pokemon and want to lose that game just because I don't want to power them up.
I totally get it. And I like hearing your perspective on it, because the next question I wanted to ask about the competitiveness is that I have seen anger like on Twitter, not well, both ways actually. I have seen people who reach rank 10 in season 4 and they were complaining that, well, two things happened. So one thing is they were complaining they didn't get a pose. And then second, they were complaining, well, not complaining, but telling, including myself, but telling people who reached rank 10 the season before in season 4, they were telling it, oh, it wasn't that hard. Why do you guys make such a big deal about it? So it kind of created this like cringy thing on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then to an answer, the people who have reached rank 10, like Yonkers, and I'm not saying, and myself as well, but I'm not saying he said anything bad, but people were saying that, you know, the post should be earned at least. So I'm okay with that not given out. But I just wanted to ask you, how did you feel about it? Or did you experience anybody reaching out to you about it?
So thankfully, I didn't really experience anybody reaching out to me that tried to make it feel like hey, I hit rank 10 season 5. I'm as good as you now because you hit it in all those other seasons, and I only hit it in season 5. I didn't run into any of that. A lot of people, I think, in my comment section on YouTube and my Twitter comments and whatnot were pretty similar in the fact that they were disappointed by the season and weren't happy about the fact that people were getting rank 10 so much easier than they were in previous seasons. But I think at the end of the day, it's just the conversation that kind of got created was don't make other people feel bad for hitting rank 10. And that was never like my goal. And nobody's ever like attacked me and told me like I was making people feel bad. So it's like, if you hit rank 10 in season 5, I'm happy for you. But then don't go and say something along the lines of somebody that was in your comment section. Like, why was it so hard for you in the previous seasons? Because like those were just completely different seasons. And season 1 through 4, it's kind of hard to compare with season 5. Like, I'm happy you had that success in season 5. Now it's time to move forward to season 6.
Exactly. That was perfectly said. I 100% agree with you. And I'm looking forward for season 6. So speaking of season 6, we have, I don't know if you realize this, but I want to ask you what you think about this, or why could that be, or it maybe makes no sense at all. But so it says basically 1 to 5 ranks, and then 5 to 10, and then 10 to 15. And then, so every 5, I think it was, there is like a win of 5 matches in a row or something. And then that's how you move forward. So do you have any idea why they would do that? And then even at rank 20, they have that.
Yeah, I did find that odd. I noticed it too when I was looking from the Pokemoners, like what their little deep dive was, and they were saying like a certain amount of wins to get to each rank. I think the only thing I can put my finger on for why they expanded it so much like that is because it's supposed to be like a 3-month season, which is like over a month longer than what our previous seasons were. So I think they just want to kind of like slow down your grinds and make it so that people aren't getting to like rank 20 right away and then only doing the elo based like battling from rank 20 to 24. So I think that was their way of trying to slow people down, similar to like how with level 50 coming out, they made it so you couldn't like speed run to level 50 because you needed like there's one task where it's like what was it, walk 25 kilometers a week for 8 weeks straight, like something along those lines. So I think it's just their way of slowing people down without coming up with I guess another creative way to slow people down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking that would make perfect sense. And then what is one thing that you would hope season 6 would have? Like, give you a few ideas that I'm looking forward to is like maybe a playoffs for the top 500 or whatever. If you're ranked 24, there will be a different reward system. Well, it does seem like, by the way, from 21-20 to 2024 would have a different rewards than the seasons before. But what is something that you would want to have or look forward in season 6?
I have hopes for definitely some more unique rewards, not just poses. Like something along the lines like a Pika Libre or like another type of Pokemon that would be like exclusive in that way, essentially. I think the idea of playoffs for a top 500 is an amazing idea. I don't see Niantic doing it just because they've never hinted at it. I would love something along those lines just because it would make it more competitive to want to stay on leaderboards and get on leaderboards. And even if they just gave exclusive rewards for being on leaderboards, because I feel like that shouldn't be so difficult to specify. So I can't think of anything else outside of that. I just, at the end of the day, I just want the competition to be back. I just want a reason to keep on PvPing. I would love some unique effects in the meta. I am worried about Ultra League with level 50 coming out and what effect Galarian Stunfisk is going to have on Ultra League now, or Ultra League Premier. But outside of that, I think the 2 things you mentioned are probably some good ideas.
Yeah, it would be awesome, and I'm hoping forward to all those. And I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this season, because that's going to be very interesting to see. So as far as everything can change, and I'm looking forward to it. But one other thing is with the rank 24. So now they have, I think it was rank 23 is like a rank 9.5 compared to the season before, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that part, that they have at least that?
I think, because what is it, like 2,000 to 2,250 and then 2,250 to 2,500? Is that what it is for each
I think it's the rank 23 is 2,750 or something like that.
Okay. So I do like that, because a lot of people would get frustrated in that leeway between 2,500 and 3,000. And I feel like kind of cutting it in half gives like somebody that sense of fulfillment. Like, all right, I reached that next rank, and like rank 10 or rank 24 now seems closer. So I think that was a good idea. My only, I don't even want to call it like an issue or concern. I just feel like from rank 1 to 20, they could have done something a little bit more unique. But I do think that going back, I'm sorry, I'm like diverting points. But cutting it in half, that grinds, because it is such a grind to go up 500 points, that putting extra ranks in between is definitely a way to give like the trainer more fulfillment. And I think it's what deserved, because even climbing 250 points is a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you, because from 2,500 to 3,000 is absolutely, it's way different. It's basically like going from leveling up your XP from like level 31 to 35, and then from 35 to or 38 to 40 is way different.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar with the PvP. So it like literally, and
Yeah, no, I agree.
yeah, and then as far as, so I like it a lot, and then I read that there's titles, so it's almost like the rank 21, 22, or maybe 22, 23, and 24, what it was, but it was Battle Legend, Battle Master, and something like that. So do you know anything about it? Is that gonna be maybe something that it's next to your name now? Just like Spidias Chief 2 named his Pokemon, it says the word champ, and now you could actually have the title Master Battler or something?
Honestly, I don't know anything about that, but that would be really cool. I think that'd be like awesome to like get a little like tag to like commemorate the fact that you put in this effort and you earn this rank and Go Battle League. Just like a caring, like even like a little thing like that, just like that caring towards Go Battle League from Niantic would be really appreciated.
I agree with you. I hope it's, they named it, so it has to mean something. That's what I was thinking, you know, or maybe a medal or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm excited either way. As far as for Silph Arena, are you still participating in Silph Arena?
I'm unfortunately not. So I participated in season 1 in every cup. I participated in season 2 in every cup, and then towards the end, because of COVID hitting and whatnot, I feel like this is like the main reason that people would give for not participating. It's just like COVID in-person tournaments stopped happening. And I'm a huge fan of Silph Arena. I have a lot of love for all the people that make Silph Arena a thing and make it happen, just because before COVID hit, like right before it hit, I live in New York. I flew all the way to Orlando for that mega tournament. I was all in for Silph, and I was excited for it. But just unfortunately, COVID happened, and doing remote tournaments isn't the same thing. Sitting around for like 5 hours to get a tournament done while you're kind of like in your house just isn't as exciting as being around like your friends or even other people that you're just meeting through PvP. So that kind of just took me out of my excitement for it. And then on top of it, the grinds with like content creating, like putting out YouTube content and Twitch, and then like my job outside of this. It makes it hard to manage all that time to then focus properly on Silph and put together a good team and have success. And if I'm going to only half effort something, let me use the right word there, I don't want to go into it, because then I'm just going to end up just losing battles that I wouldn't be happy with because I didn't put in like the practice or put in the effort ahead of time. So I haven't been participating this season. Sorry.
No, I got it. That was very, very well said, because I feel exactly the same way. And I just started Silph right before COVID. I only did like maybe 1 or 2 tournaments in person with Spidias Chief 2 and Linden Ryu. So two really horrible players, right? But anyways, so I was with them at the tournament. It was such an amazing experience. And then after that, we had the shutdown. And since then, no in-person tournament. And just like you, everything you said that's how I feel. And I just cannot get myself to sit through. Even though I love Silph and everything, I just cannot get it done at the remote. It's just not me. It just doesn't work for me at all. Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So as far as well, I hope Pokemon Go sees this, obviously, and they're working on it. So let's just jump right into it real quick, since you're talking about competition. So esports. So firstly, there's so many ways that it could play out. So we were just guessing, guys, just so you know. But what do you think about esports? And then once you talk about it, I also want to ask you, just so you can think about it already, that what would you love to see in esports if you would have your picks?
So I have this fantasy that's gonna that would happen like years and years while technology continues to develop. So technology's not there for it now, but there's this fantasy in my mind that in years from now, when we go to do like a Pokemon Go PvP battle, because Niantic is so into AR and like making this stuff like actually appear in real life, that like you would actually be able to get like holograms of the Pokemon while they're battling, and like you can get like a stadium of people literally sitting there watching these holograms battle in person. Obviously this isn't happening for like a long time because technology still needs to like improve and whatnot, but that's like my big dream for esports down the line, is like actual Pokemon battles. That'd be so cool. But honestly, if they could just follow the route of other esport, like not organizations, but like I guess like other games where they're having tournaments and things along those lines. Again, obviously COVID needs to not be a thing, but I think if they could hold it in a it's a tough way to, it's tough because I feel like a lot of people didn't participate in Silph just because it wasn't like the easiest thing to access, going to the tournaments, creating the teams of 6 Pokemon. But I feel like their best bet is like doing in-person tournaments. I don't know if necessarily in a Go Battle League style, or maybe in a Go Battle League style, but with specified metas similar to how we've seen Halloween Cup and how we've seen Kanto Cup, some of my more favorite ones, like actual unique metas, not like ones that are, let me not knock other things. I appreciate the fact they're trying. Like Flying Cup and Little Cup were definitely some big misses, but I appreciate them putting in the effort and trying that. And if we get to that point, I feel like in-person tournaments, obviously when COVID's not a thing also, would be the way to go. But I feel like how would you make people match up in Go Battle League? It'd be, I don't know, it'd be an interesting route, but I think that's what I would hope for. So like the in-person tournaments at some point, and then long down the future, we'll love some holographic battles.
Yeah, what you mentioned is it would be amazing, and I agree with you, because Niantic is such a big, they're doing such an amazing job. We don't see this, but such an amazing job with the AR and the glasses. They also one of the biggest investors, and also purchased the company that makes those glasses, the AR glasses. And they also have I don't know if they have a contract, but they have a huge interest with Apple, and they are constantly talking with Apple with their AR glasses once it comes out. But the point is, what you're saying might not be too far from, our imagination, because it might actually happen. But they said in at least 2 years from now. That's what they said.
Okay.
The new operating officer that they hired about a year ago, she said that she was hired for this task only, basically. Well, not only, but mainly. And she have said that that's her goal. And then she said this was a year ago, and then she said 3 years a year ago. So basically, hopefully in 2 years. You know what I mean? That would be pretty amazing, by the way.
I didn't know. I didn't even know that was like in the plans. That's sooner than I would have expected.
Yep. So that would be unbelievable, by the way. But here's the thing. One other thing with that is the tournaments in person. So I'm pretty sure you see it, but remember, I always bring this up when we talk about esports, because I think that was their first like real test if there is a competition and people would like it. When they had the invitation only in DC, when they had PokeAK and King and all those amazing players on the stage. And I don't know if you were there or if you've seen the videos, but they have stolen the whole event or everything that was there. Everybody was so hooked on Pokemon Go, and nobody cared about anything else while they were battling, because it was that engaging and fun to watch.
I actually did see that, and I thought the same thing. One concern that I would take away from it was they were having technical issues during that battle, which is obviously something that we all hope and pray for on our side that Niantic will iron out. But it's like it shows the potential's there. And I know in the nicest way I could put this, Niantic enjoys making money. And if they can see how much attention it got there and invest into the servers so that there aren't these technical issues that are consistently happening, where we can have a tournament and we can watch a battle on the main stage and not have to worry about anything going down. Like people, like you said, people were clearly into it that day. And I feel like it would only grow from there, especially because since then, Go Battle League wasn't even out then. Go Battle League wasn't out at that point. So more people have gotten into PvP since then, because Go Battle League is just so – the reason why so the reason why I believe, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on this, that people have gotten to Go Battle League is the fact that it's such an ease of access versus like Silph, which is why Silph has like a minority of the PvPers and some of the people that are putting in more effort, because it requires more effort to get into Silph. Whereas with Go Battle League coming out, it kind of just shows that because they made it such an easy access, that a lot of other people might actually show an interest in it and have slowly gotten into PvP just specifically because of Go Battle League.
That's correct. I agree with you. I couldn't agree more with that. And I'm thinking that now it's so easy and so accessible, especially with COVID. Technically, we don't have to walk. Temporary. I think they're going to bring that back in eventually in a different way. But what do you think about that?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. The day they bring back walking is the day that my content is not daily at even existing. That would be very tough. I understand why they would do it, but I feel like since COVID's happened and not making it walking should show Niantic that like some people want a PvP, and they'll definitely see a dip in numbers. So I feel like if anything, they try and bring it back, and then they've realized a dip in numbers happens in PvP. and then maybe they don't. But then at the same time, some people are going to pay the coins to skip the walking, because like I'll be honest, in the beginning when Go Battle League was a thing and the walking requirement was there, I was dropping coins to get my battles in just because I was like so into it. So they might keep the walking specifically for that because it's going to make them more money than keeping it for free. So it's a tough pill to swallow. I would prefer that they didn't, and I would love if they like noticed our community and realized how much we care about this and kind of just left it as is, but at the same time, their business.
Yeah, I think there are going to be some pushbacks, and there were so many ways. But if they come up with a middle area of basically half the walking and half the cost, then people probably wouldn't have problems with walk half of it or walk or pay half, meaning half. Does that make sense, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then you go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I think to add on to that, if they have it and they allow you to stack all your kilometers for the day, I think that was a big one, where you would walk like maybe 10 kilometers in your entire day, but then at that time it was only registering 4 of them and you were getting in like 2 sets because of that, and you still had to walk for the other 3. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you though. What were you about to say?
No, that's exactly where I was heading to. So I'm glad that you actually said that. But if they think, but thinking of esports, they're gonna have to think that different a little bit, because I don't know how they're gonna combine esports and walking and all that. So it will be interesting to see. But I'm happy because, and guys, for if you haven't read the article or if you haven't heard or saw the interview or anything like that, there was actually the developer of Go Battle League saying that they are 100% going for esports. And then, but they said that's the small dream. What they actually said is, I mean, sorry, not they, he said that his biggest dream is to make esports, not only, I mean, Pokemon Go, not only esports, but to actually make it like an Olympic style gaming, which I have no idea what it means. Does that make anything? Do you think of anything?
The only thing I can think of is because Pokemon Go is such a worldwide game. If he's saying Olympic base, it would be like country versus country type thing, like in tournaments and things along those lines. So instead of having, I guess, private organizations form teams, he would probably want like the country's best, even though, you know, there's certain people that like, I don't know, spoofing and whatnot, it's a bad word to use, that are probably acting like they're in other countries. But if you can get a gauge on whoever plays where and like get like that hard concrete proof and have people like competing from different countries and Go Battle League, that'd be really cool.
That would be actually pretty amazing. Honestly, I think that not only the viewership would go up more, but the participations and that would be something that Niantic with the AR, just like they're already doing, but they would push forward esports, not just joining esports, but it would push it forward one more, because that's something that is a little bit different than what they've been doing. You know what I mean? So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I wanted to ask you about Stardust and grinding for Stardust, or even XP, but let's start with Stardust. So do you have like a daily routine that you follow, or like maybe rules that how much you spend on Stardust per week, or second move, or you know what I mean? Like any little tips what you do for Stardust, because Stardust is like the most needed currency.
Especially now with level 50 coming out and everybody wanting to power up their Pokemon level 50 immediately. I don't have anything specific strict that I follow. I'll play, well, it's been a little bit tougher with COVID, but like I would play, like I would have the gacha on going while I go to and from work, and it would like catch me some Pokemon, some light stuff, and then I would pretty much take a day out of my week to go to like certain areas where I know I have like a lot of Pokestops and whatnot, and I kind of grind those out for a few hours. So I'd feel like the best way to go about Stardust grinding would be at least try to take one day where you're gonna like go for a couple hours, and then depending on how much you made, just keep track of that and try not to spend more than what you made. Similar to like money, when you make money and you want to save money in real life, you can't spend something that you don't have or you don't earn or you're not making. And I'm currently trying to rebuild my Stardust because with like, again, Twitch and YouTube putting out that kind of content, making spicy Pokemon, that costs a lot of dust. You're building a lot for the content. So that was like a big issue for me. I was around like probably 200K around last week, and now I'm close to like 1 million. Definitely taking advantage of the community days. Even when they're not triple dust community days, I'll always drop a star piece. I'll always have that running because you're just getting in so many extra catches. And I think that pretty much covers it. I try to take at least one day a week where I'll grind for multiple hours.
Oh, that's perfect. And it was perfect to put, just like money. Don't spend more than you earn. But technically, you can't spend more than you earn. But per week, if you put it per day, per week, that rule, then it will go into your favor. So as far as Stardust, so yeah, Stardust will be needed even more than before. So that's gonna be interesting. Now, how about XP? Because what's your XP? Do you know right now? How much do you have?
Right now, I'm at 105 mil. And
You're almost
yeah,
there though, right? How much do you need?
170 something. So I'm more than halfway. I'm more than halfway. And
Oh,
I
man,
guess
that sounds
that's
crazy.
I feel like that's more partially my fault. I probably could have been closer. But what I would recommend for XP is to take those friendships seriously. Like if you put an effort into you're like building best friends with certain people, and you can coordinate times, even though not everybody is like the easiest with that. But if you could try your best to coordinate times, even if it doesn't work out, getting the best friends is still 100,000 XP. If you could drop a lucky egg, even specifically for one best friend, then 200,000 XP is definitely worth it, even on that one lucky egg. If you want to line up a bunch of best friends, then that's obviously the best way to go about it. But I think that there's such a huge, I don't know if discrepancy is a word, but there's such a big difference between getting XP from friendship and every other aspect of the game. You can get a decent amount of XP from raiding, but at the same time, raiding will cost you the most amount of money to get XP. So my biggest recommendation would be friendship and trying to drop lucky eggs. Again, that also costs money. But if you want to avoid the lucky eggs, still friendship is the best way to be building your XP, and just try to focus specifically on 45 people. Like if you have people at best friends as much as you want lucky friends, if you're caring about XP, focus on the people that you're not lucky friends with and that you have to build a friendship with.
Yeah, that's 100%. I'm happy you said that because that's lots of XP. I mean, 200 people in your friend list that you can have. Well, it's going to take a while, but that's basically about what 20 million, or
Yeah.
even more than 20, because you get for 100,000 you get 200,000, right? With a lucky
It'd be
egg.
40 million. Yeah, with the lucky egg, if you have the lucky egg on. Yep.
That would be awesome. So, but again, just to put it in perspective, you said what was it, 160 or something like that million that you need?
170. Yeah, 170.
170 million is a lot of experience anyway you
Oh
look
yeah.
at it.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And I hit, what was it? When I hit level 40, I think I just stopped caring about XP. And thankfully, like as time has gone by since then, like I got into friendships and whatnot, and that kind of built on. But obviously, if I would have looked a little bit more into the future, I probably could have been close to that 170 mark. There are definitely some best friends and some friendships that I could drop lucky eggs for that I was just like, I don't care. So that was more my issue. I could definitely be closer, but now the grind's back on.
Yeah, I'm happy because I'm at 40 million, so that would get me like I think level 43 or 44, something like that. But to think about it, that gets you to like almost halfway technically to 50 if you look at it that way, right? Not experience, but like number wise. But then you are at, let's say, 40 million and you need 170. You are not even close to that halfway.
But hey, I gotta admit, it's pretty impressive that you picked up the game when you did again, and you're at 40 million experience right now. So you're on a good route.
Thank you, appreciate it. Now, I wanted to ask you this. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I'm getting confused messages from different people about it, and I just want to know because I don't know it yet. But so, if you stay level 40, let's say because you're a new player and you just reached level 40, can you max out Pokemon without being level 50 to level 50? Do you know anything about that?
Yes, so you can. Yes. So I guess that's a short answer straight to the point. But there was an update. I think the Pokemoners on Twitter announced it saying basically you can power up your Pokemon 10 levels higher than whatever your current level is. So like if you're level 39 now, you can get your Pokemon all the way up to level 49. If you're level 38, you can get your Pokemon up to level 48. So if you're hitting level 40 in this last like 2 months before, or last now couple days before level 50 drops, then yeah, once you're at level 40, you can power up the Pokemon level 50.
Okay, good. So that's good news because then technically you don't really need to hit that level 50 in order to stay competitive. That's what I was heading to.
Yeah, that was definitely something that was a big concern. It's still a slight concern on my end because like powering up to level 50 is still going to be extremely expensive. So even though it's awesome that we can do it and we don't need to get to like level 50 or get to a specific level to do it, there's the whole amount of dust that has been announced that's like required for it, and now this whole new thing with extra large candy and how you can go about getting extra large candy is definitely some stuff that's concerning on powering up certain Pokemon, especially like legendaries. Now you maxed out like your Dialga for Master League and your Groudon for Master League and your Giratina Origin for Master League. Like, how are you going to go about getting these extra large candies that you need when you need like 200 and something of them just to max it out? On top of the fact, it's going to be another like 200 something thousand dust. So now like maxing out Pokemon's like almost 500,000 dust.
That's crazy. You
Yeah.
have to be like really selective now, especially the meta gonna be so small in I feel like in Masters League now because maxing out the Pokemon gonna be so expensive.
Completely agree. Yeah, it's gonna be really tough to get your Pokemon ready for it, and you're gonna really want to only use like a specific 3, which is definitely worrisome. And I think that was part of why Niantic was like, right now you can't bring in anything above level 40 to any of the leagues for PvP or Go Battle League. And I'm kind of hoping they keep that for a while in season 6. Maybe give us the 3 months. I don't even know if 3 months is enough. Maybe season 7 start to allow Pokemon above level 40 to be used, but there's got to be some sort of like leeway there, because not everybody's gonna have max out Pokemon right away.
Exactly, or have some sort of an Excel league or something where people who had it already, they can jump into it if they want to, or something like that.
Yeah, and they can run that like corresponding with Masters League. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what I want to also ask you is that how do you set up your team for Switch advantage? And when you have that set up, as far as how do you, I guess the main question was, how do you sex swap Pokemons in order to your benefit? Or how do you set up, like if you start a match and you see that, all right, I lost the lead, how do you decide that I'm gonna either lose the Switch advantage, but then I must win the next Switch advantage? And then how do you, or do you keep the main Pokemon for sex swap, or you don't keep it, just let it go? Like, how do you come up with that when as soon as the match starts? Because you only have a few seconds. So if you hard lost the lead, how do you come up with that solution? If that kind of makes sense. I know it was kind of complicated.
No, it does, and that's a great question. So it really depends on the team comp and how you've gone about building your team. So sometimes when I'm building a team, I won't notice that it has a double weakness at first, because it won't be like the most obvious double weakness. And if you've built a team that has a double weakness, what I would recommend is not even necessarily going into a Pokemon you may be considered as your safe swap, because even if you win Switch advantage back, your second Pokemon that's weak to that first one is still going to run into it either way. So in a case like that, I would let the first Pokemon go down, and I would hope that your Pokemon that's not weak to it has a strong advantage to like. Here's the example I'll give, because it's hard to put into words, basically. In Kanto Cup, I ran a team of Kanto Rapidash, Hypno, and Alolan Graveler. And even though Kanto Rapidash isn't taking super effective damage from fighting, whenever I run into a Shadow Machamp lead, that was a lost lead, and I didn't want to safe swap immediately into Hypno, because then that Machamp late game would be able to destroy both my Graveler and my Rapidash, because Rapidash is very glassy. So what I would do is I would try to get as much damage off of Rapidash as possible. I would let it go down, and then I would just go in with Hypno, because safe swapping into Hypno, they're going to have a counter for it. It's going to take out my Hypno, and then I got nothing to deal with that Machamp. And sometimes I've been able to pull out wins, even though Machamp lead was very tough for that team. So that's one way at how I look at it. And then the other way is, depending on when you're building a team that doesn't have that kind of double weakness, then you really just want to use a select few Pokemon, and hopefully the select group of Pokemon starts to expand as like a safe swap tier list, just because of the fact that a lot of Pokemon can get hard countered easily depending on the meta and how it's shaped. But as of now, like the best like safe swap Pokemon are like Sableye, Hypno. I'm just talking about like Open Great League, like Vigoroth, Defense Deoxys. Just to name a few, those have been like some of the like the highly touted safe swap type Pokemon, and it's mostly because of the fact that they're either their bulkiness, or they're based on their typing or their move set, they can't get hard countered as easily. So those are the Pokemon that you want to try and delegate as the ones that you use as safe swaps in certain situations, depending again on the team comp that you built. And hopefully as we go further into season 6 and more Pokemon get introduced, we'll have a bigger group of Pokemon that could be trusted as safe swaps in those situations. Because you wouldn't want to use something like Swampert as a safe swap, as much as it could be very spammy, but there's going to be that person with a Tropius that's going to swap in their Tropius against their Swampert, and you're just going to be completely walled, and there was nothing safe about that swap. So like there's my logic on that one. Yeah.
No, that was perfect. I love what you gave with the example, because now people actually have a real life example. So for example, and then so that's when you let it go, right? So then how do you decide that, and how much health you want to keep? Or basically what I want to ask you is that, so let's say you start and you lost the lead, and you do have a safe swap, just like we just mentioned, and you could safe swap out because your team doesn't have a double weakness. So the question is, when do you decide that you're going to swap out instantly, or you stay in for some damage or energy?
Oh, okay. I think it all depends on how hard of a counter is like that lead that you're going up against. So I guess we could stick with like the Rapidash Hypno Graveler team. That was like my example. if I was going up against a Lapras, even if I had Ice Shard, Lapras is a hard wall to Rapidash. So I would save swap into Hypno immediately, on top of the fact that I had a second counter for Lapras in the back as a Alolan Graveler. Something that I'm trying to think of an example where I'd have Rapidash in there and I would stay in for a little bit. Snorlax leads. Snorlax leads, I think I would stay in for a little bit. Snorlax isn't a hard counter, but Snorlax, as long as they time their charge moves correctly and don't let you get an extra Incinerate through, Snorlax is what beat Rapidash. And from that, I would try to do some damage to Snorlax because it's so bulky, but because it's also not like absolutely destroying me, I can stay in for a bit. So I would get off like a flame charge or two. I don't remember exactly how I played it off the top of my head, but I would stay for like 1 or 2 flame charges, and then I would save swap into Hypno, and then Snorlax would be pretty low on health, and I would also want to do that damage because Snorlax is so bulky and nothing on my team really hard counters it.
That was again a perfect example. And then lastly, all to this question ties into it. So lastly, then as far as we're swapping out, when do you decide if when you want to swap, you're going to try to swap on the charge move? Does that make sense? So let's say if you know a Body Slam is coming or a Superpower is coming, and you're about to swap out, do you try to catch that, or you just, you know what I mean? Like, how do you decide that?
So my biggest issue is that I don't count. I try to estimate. A lot of people like to count the fast moves. So, and I highly recommend it. I can't focus properly on the game. I get too distracted with little things to keeping up with counting fast moves. But in that like specific example, like again, you said like a body slam coming. When I get to the flame charge, it's pretty much around where the Snorlax will get to the body slam. But some people will want to hold on to their charge moves. So I'll throw the flame charge, and then I'll hope they want to throw their body slam after. So they'll try and swap there to catch the move. But I would try to catch a move in one of those like soft loss leads. Like if it's a really hard loss lead and you're not exactly counting fast moves, like I'm going up against a Lapras, I think it's like 4 Ice Shards to get to a Surf. You can count that, but some skilled players know that you might be counting it, so you don't necessarily – if you swap on the 4th one, they just won't throw it all. Or if you try to wait for a 5th one because you know they're going to wait to throw, then they don't wait for the 5th one and then they throw it. Then you got to use a shield that you were hoping not to use. So like in the harder loss leads, I would try to avoid pulling off that kind of swap. But some like highly skilled players still like stick around and try to make that swap. And it definitely is a gamble. It's definitely a gamble just because I guess if you count it right and you just play it the safest way, then you can swap. And even if they haven't thrown, then they can catch it on like whatever Pokemon you swapped into. But I would just prefer to avoid like a Surf hitting my Rapidash because that's going to almost one-shot it. And I don't want to use a shield in that situation. So my logic would be to swap out immediately there. Whereas with Snorlax, I would try to catch a body slam on my Hypno. Whereas if I mess up and the body slam is going to land on the Rapidash, I don't necessarily mind that going through. Or sometimes I don't mind using the shield there. So it depends, again, on how hard of a loss lead it was.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because lots of times you can miscount or even get an energy advantage and you miss that or whatever it could happen, especially with the desync. When that was an issue, that was horrible. It's really thrown my game off. But yeah, it's a really good point, because for people to determine when they could do that and when they should do that, and with counting or not counting. So I'm very happy with the answer that you gave, because I think that gives example for everyone. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And then as far as for and last season, you were right, by the way, about it. So when you're getting close to rank 10, well, now rank 24, people will expect exactly for you to swap out on the charge move, and then they just hold on to it. Or what been happening, I remember last season when I was grinding for rank 10, so I was about to throw it, right? And then I didn't, so I was swapping, and while I was swapping, not after I clicked on it, it's exactly at the same time we both swapped out. Does that make sense? Because they expected you to swap out, and they both swapped out. So that was, to me, I'm like, wow, that player really knows his game.
High-level gameplay, some high-level game thoughts, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was, to me, I was like, all right, I see you. Anyways, so as far as we don't really know season 6 just yet, but what do you think? Do you have any team in mind that you think you might want to use or want to start with as of now?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I think I'm going to go into it completely brand new, just because I want to see if there are any announcements on like specific moves and certain things I want to try out like right off the bat. Like I think it was season 4 when Galvantula got Lunge, and I wanted to use that like right away, even though I didn't have a good team. Like I have some preset teams that I have like I've saved that I would definitely like go back to and use in Great League. But my other concern becomes this level 50 thing. Like I don't think we've gotten a confirmation on if we're going to be allowed to use level 50 Pokemon in Go Battle League at all. And like if you can, then like Pokemon like Wobbuffet or Pokemon like what was it, Lickitung, just get a lot more play and definitely have an effect on the meta. As much as like Galarian, Sunfisk, and Azu are still going to be like great choices and extremely meta relevant, the increase in those Pokemon being used would definitely have an effect on whatever team comp I decide to put together. So I think I'm going to go in fresh and kind of rebuild from the ground up and see what I can come up with.
That's a good plan. And people, if you're listening, that should be a good plan because we don't know. It could be, so many things could be changed overnight with the moves and everything. So lastly, I want to just ask you if you have any tips or any message or anything whatsoever you want to share with the community or just any finishing thoughts.
Okay, so my biggest thing, and this is what I stressed, I think it was season 4. No matter, because I feel like coming into season 6, it'll be similar where going through the first 20 ranks, depending on your win-loss record, will determine where you start out ELO rank rating-wise between rank 21 and 24. And what I wanted to stress is don't be discouraged by that. In season 4, I started off with my lowest ELO like ever in a previous season, especially because going into season 6, we're all starting at 0. So the amount of the opponents you're going to face are going to be random, like all over the place. In your first battles, you could be facing highly skilled players, or you could be facing some people that are just getting into PvP for the first time. And depending on how your win-loss is, whatever your starting ELO is, don't be discouraged by it. You probably faced some really tough opponents in the beginning and didn't really get that credit because of the ELO reset. So just take that. You can still hit rank 24 from there because in season 4, I started off at 2307. I had like 700 points I needed to gain to get to rank 10, and I did not have a lot of time, and I still hit that rank 10 in like the first week of Master League before even Halloween Cup and things along those lines. So I just want, the biggest thing I want to stress when it comes to like PvP or Go Battle League is to just don't the biggest thing I want to stress is don't overstress. Don't over worry about your current starting ELO because no matter where you start, it's about where you finish, and you can definitely end at that rank 24 or rank 10 goal that you've set out for yourself in the beginning of the season.
That's a really good point that you have mentioned because, yeah, I feel like there's lots of people who get discouraged when they actually get to their first ELO points, especially if they used to get like 2,600, 2,500 from the previous seasons. So you touched a really good point because you might just get 2,000 at this point. Actually, do we start at 2,000 or we start even lower? I didn't see that.
I think 2,000. I mean, if you want me to look it up, I could probably pull it up really quickly. But I'm pretty confident it's 2,000. And then every rank is 250 points because then 2,000, 220, 2,250, and then 2,250 at 2,500, 2,500, 2,750.
Yeah, so that would make that could discourage lots of people. But you just mentioned it, 2,300, starting at 2,300 and getting to 3,000 is a lots of grind. And I just recommend, just like you said, and take it day by day because one day you could gain so much, but you can also lose so much. So just focus on every single day, and that's it.
So to add on, I just pulled it up. We start at 2,000, and then to get to rank 22, it's 2,500. So that's a 500-point jump, and then 22, 23 is to 2,750, so 250-point jump, and then obviously at 24, you need to get to 3,000. So even though that beginning grind from 21 to 22, if you start in the lower end of the 2,000s, I still wouldn't be discouraged or getting those first 500 points. Might take a while, but you're definitely going to be able to do it if you put in the effort and the time.
Perfect. And by the way, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed having you, and I'm sure our audience enjoyed having you as well.
I appreciate you having me, and if you want to have me again in the future, I'd be more than welcome to come back again to talk about whatever you want to chat about. Thank you so much.
We will, and thank you so much.